he's like, oh, I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10 or something. I'm like, Tom, how can you rate that game a 9 out of 10?
Seriously.
It's literally taking 2 pebbles and rubbing them together until you got a spark. You count how many seconds, that's your score. Are we live already?
I don't think we know game design if it hit him in the face. Come on.
I don't think so.
No.
Oh, hey. All right. I'm seeing comments.
Oh, we're live.
There.
Sorry.
All right. We're live. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Roy Kennedy.
Yeah, baby.
We
Roy
are wrong,
Kennedy,
too.
Mike Delisio. And today we are going to be discussing how wrong Tom Vassell is. In my opinion, he's so wrong that I got the wardrobe to go with it.
Yes.
As you can see there. I look like I'm flashing everybody. Yeah.
He's so wrong that I prepared a GIF for this, just in case. I can throw up the Tom is wrong GIF. So
Boom.
let me know when we need GIF action chat. Be like, Tom is wrong.
That's fantastic. Yeah. All right. So what we did was we figured out 10 games each in which we thought Tom's rating of it was just not quite right. Now, for some of it, that can be for every pick. It could be his score was too high, and we thought that was crazy, and the game's just not that interesting. Or his score was too low, and he does not give that game enough credit, okay?
Right.
I know we all kind of did a slightly different thing with that. Now, Roy, you picked like half and half, right?
So for me, what I did is my first 5 are going to be games that he rated high that are just straight garbage. And I have no clue why he would pick these games and rate them so highly. They're not good at all. And then my top half are games that I love that he just doesn't have any clue that they're as good as they are. Like, I have no clue what's going on either way here. Tom is wrong.
And Mike, what did you do?
Yeah, what I did was I looked at Tom's ratings, and after I got through sobbing, I found the ones that were of the highest disparity. So the first portion of my list, we had a difference of 3. I think 3 in our rating, and then in the last few were differences of 4. The majority of them were ones that I thought were better than he did, but there are also a couple where I thought his were way too high and they're straight garbage.
Well, for me, I consider Tom to be largely a hater. So all of my picks are games that he scores more lowly than I do. These are all games, many of them at the top of the list, games that are fantastic, 10 out of 10s. I mean, proven games. And this dude just doesn't get it.
Right.
You know, I kind of want to say that wearing tight hats has affected his judgment over time, but I don't want to be mean. So,
right.
I guess I did say it, didn't I? Oh, well.
It's okay. It's all right.
And he'll never watch this, I'm sure. He won't see. I mean, he's not here right now.
Nobody's letting him know we're doing this, right?
Please don't at him or anything, because we don't want him to know that this is going on.
At him. All right, guys. What do you say we get going here? Let's talk about some games that Tom doesn't know how to properly judge. Let's
make it happen.
Number 10.
Back.
All right, so for number 10, I'm gonna start things off relatively mellow, right? I didn't want to come with the straight fire too early because we've got a long list here. And so what I did was I chose a game that Tom rates a 4. Okay, so gentlemen, when you hear that a game is rated a 4, obviously you're thinking this is a horrible game, barely playable, right?
It's not good, yeah.
Not good. It's a deck building game, and it is the DC Comics deck building game. Now look, I understand that not everybody feels this is the best deck building game of all time. I don't feel like it's the best deck building game of all time. However, I rate it a 7. I think it's a good game. It has some thematic disconnects, but it's a solid deck building game that has a wide appeal. It has had countless expansions. It's still being played. You know, it's still a viable product. Tom rates this a 4. Okay.
Yeah, his big issue with this one is, and he latched onto it early and just never put this argument down. How can you mix in like, Robin now, and now it's suddenly, Batman, and now it's Superman, but now it's like a bad guy. I'm like, really? You're hanging this whole argument on the fact that the game feels somewhat thematically disconnected? Be thankful it's all DC at least. You know what I mean? And it's not like Cthulhu, Robin Hood, Catwoman. Come on, man.
I use a tentacle to buy that character.
Right.
Yeah.
There are also other deck building games that he rates higher that are not good. Like he just recently played the Epic card game on his app. App. That game's not good, and he rates it 2.5 points higher than the DC deck builder. So all I can say is in this case, and in every other one that I'm about to mention, Tom is wrong.
Bam!
Yes.
For sure.
All right, Roy, what do you got?
All right, for me, let's go to my number 10 here. This is a game that Tom rates an 8, okay? And all this game is a couple little cardboard room tiles with little crappy standees, and you're moving characters around and eliminating them. There's like barely any choice in this game. You're supposed to be trying to deduce things. This is Rumble in the House.
Yes.
What in the world is up with this game? This game is straight garbage. Like, okay, you move a guy or you eliminate a guy, and you can try to be sneaky, and maybe everybody has one character and nobody knows who it is. It's mostly random. Okay, maybe you can try to deduce who's moving what and where, but the whole game is just, it looks like garbage. It is garbage. It's basically not even fun the first time you play it. I have no clue why it's rated an 8. An 8? That's insane.
He loves it. He
But
probably made his own custom one. All right, my number 10 is a game that, to be fair, not a lot of people, I think, like particularly much. And it is, like Mike said, the least disparity. Now, Tom rates it a 3.
Ooh.
And I currently rate it a 6.
Sure.
At one point, I rated it a 7. I think I dropped it a little bit. The game is Bombay. And this is a game from Istari, who was on top of the world at one point. And this is one that kind of started to bring them down from that mountain, but I've always liked it. I think it's a solid, very small, very condensed pick up and deliver game. You are moving your little elephants around, you are buying goods at different places, you are traveling, and you are delivering those goods. Along the way, you can set up these little tents, and if people walk past yours, you're making bank. You also can manipulate the values of the different goods at each of the locations you can go to. It's neat. It's just small. Your actions, each single action you do has to matter because you don't get to do that many in the game. And I remember in his review, he said something like, if because you have an action where you can do nothing on your entire turn and make a coin or 2 coins. Right. And he said something like, it's crazy. If you just literally do nothing for the whole game, you might win by making a coin a turn. If you're making a single coin per turn on average, and that's what your end game score is, you are asleep or dead. Okay? You can definitely do better than a coin a turn or 2 coins a turn. So it was an insane argument. I remember I stopped watching his reviews after that one, and I haven't seen one since, to be honest. So that's my number 10, Bombay.
Awesome.
Number 9.
Back.
All right, so my number 9 is a game that Tom rates a 5. I rate the game an 8. I think this is a good game. This is a game that I don't even understand what his issue with it is because it's similar to other games that he likes. The game is Mysterium. This is the game where one person is playing as a ghost, and you've got these kind of Dixit-style cards, and everybody else is trying to guess these clues. So it's kind of a stepped-up version of something like Clue, but it's using that kind of Dixit abstract card, mechanic. And, this is a game that I enjoyed right away when it came out. I actually played the original version when it was, I want to say, I can't remember the pronunciation of it, but the European version of it.
The one from Portal Games, you mean that one?
Yeah. And if anything, I actually think that I might have even preferred that because it was a little bit more streamlined in the rule set. But what in this game is a 5? I mean, the mechanics are good. The art is fantastic. The components are good. I don't understand the hatred for this when he likes Dixit. He likes When I Dream. He likes other games that have this same type of mechanic. I don't understand the hate. I think he's clearly wrong. This is another game that has pretty well been established in gaming circles. It's popular. It's still popular. Right. So I just think he's way off base on this one. Mysterium is a very good game. Certainly not a 5. So
I don't know. I think Tom. He never played the original, Mike. You did. I did. I remember, and I thought it was interesting. Yeah. And then the evolution. Yeah, maybe the evolution of it that Asmodee put out added stuff for the sake of adding stuff, and it became a little convoluted. And convolution is something that I think we can all agree Tom Vasel does not handle well. It's phase 10 and below for that man.
Wow.
So I think that's it. I think that's mainly it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too much for Tom.
All right. Well, my number 9. I know there are people that actually really enjoy this game out there, but they're also wrong. So this is a extremely long game. I normally like long games. This is a game that has a little bit of like a area control and building up your civilization, but in this civilization, you're kind of playing different animals. And this is Dominant Species. Tom rates Dominant Species an 8. I hate this game. I love long games. I love games where you're building up all this area control stuff. This game looks terrible. Like cones and cubes? Like what in the world? And also, all of like the stuff happens and you're building up all this stuff, and at the very end of the game, a asteroid or volcano can blow up all of your stuff, and everything you've done just completely gets undone. And I know people love the whole like action selection placement and stuff. It's just this game could look way better, and it's not fun, and it's way too long, and I don't know why it's rated an 8. And if you agree, you're also wrong.
Oh man!
Wow!
Everybody's wrong.
There goes my phase 10 and below argument. This is a really complicated game. So
it doesn't even. I have no clue why it's that high.
Do you think he maybe never played it and just rates it that highly to seem bright?
Yes. Yes, that's a very Vasel thing to do.
I don't want to spread rumors, but can we pass that around, please, in the comments? Thank you. Here we go. All right, my number 9 is a party game. Somebody mentioned Obscurio. This came out around that same time, and I like it. I don't know why it doesn't seem to be getting the love that I give it. Tom rated a 5. I rated an 8. And the game is One Key. One Key is neat. It's a little bit of Dixit-esque sort of trappings. You are, as the person who knows the answer among all of these pictures on the table, you are giving the rest of the team clues. So they can eliminate some every round and ultimately arrive at the answer you are getting them to guess. Yes, it's an all or nothing game, right? I mean, I guess you can say, oh, we got really close. Right. You either win and you get to the one thing, or you just bomb. There's no in between, really. I like it. It's tense. So the discussions are interesting, very much like Mysterium, that idea of like, well, is this clue pointing us towards this bright orange thing because his clue is orange? Or is it because is he pointing us away from this other thing because it kind of looks like a Game Boy and this looks like a square thing? That's interesting. The discussions are great. And much like the what's the social deduction game about the murder in Hong Kong?
Deception.
Much like that game in which you right away are doing things, I think One Key has that to it. You right away are talking about, well, maybe this is in, maybe this is out. I like that discussion. So I like it. I think I recommend it. I think it's a good party game. One Key, my number 9.
Yeah, I played that at Dice Tower West, and I really enjoyed it. And so there's a couple of party games that Tom doesn't like that we do. So I think we know that Tom likes party games. I think the difference is that Tom just doesn't like good party games. He likes garbage party games. That must be the distinction, yeah.
I haven't played this, but I really need to play it so you guys can show me how wrong Tom is. I bet it's great because, I mean, obviously you guys' opinion is better, so.
Correct.
Bam. Bam, I say.
Number 8.
All right, I don't want to say that the first two were ridiculous, but this number 8 is just straight outrageous. And I don't use that word lightly. Actually, I do use that word. I do use that word lightly. I use it all the time. But this is ridiculous. In a while, actually. I know. I like to.
I shamed him when he first started working here with the outrageous, so he's kind of calmed down, I think.
That's all right. It's kind of a catchphrase now. So this confounds me. How Tom could rate a well-loved, Uwe Rosenberg game a 4. I have to look at this again to make sure I'm not looking at it wrong. He rates it a 4. Now, it's not my favorite. I rated a 7. But At the Gates of Loyang is a really good game. A 4? What is it about this game that you're going to give a 4? I do not understand this. This has so many of the things that Tom likes in other Uwe Rosenberg games. It has the card play, it has the worker placement, it has kind of the tight economy. Now I know that he likes Caverna more than Agricola, so maybe this one is just too punishing for him. Maybe Tom can't handle the pressure of a good Uwe Rosenberg game. Maybe he has to have one of these hold your hand through the meadow type games. But this game is really good. And honestly, if just for the wooden leaks, this has wooden leaks as a component. If solely for that reason, it's at least a 5. Put on top of that, it's a good game. Now you got a 7. Tom rates it a 4. It's outrageous. Lovers of Loyang unite. Tom.
I feel like Z has things to say.
Wrong.
Gates of Loyang's not that good.
Z, come on now. I thought we were united here.
I'm still gonna call you out when you make a bad choice.
No, this
look, Tom.
is this a 4, Z? Is this a 4?
I don't know what I rated. I'll tell you right now. How about that?
Tell me what you
I'm
rated
looking it up right now.
If you rated a 4, I'm gonna just turn the computer off and walk away.
At the Gates of Loyang.
What if he rates it a 3?
I rated a 5.5.
All right. That's still ridiculous, but it's better than 4. 5.5.
Nice.
Golly.
All right.
So, my number 8. I love superhero games. I know Tom loves superhero games, but this one is boring. It's just math. It's extremely fiddly. I don't understand why he rates this game a 9. It's insane. And that is Sentinels of the Multiverse. Sentinels of the Multiverse is a superhero game with all sorts of different superheroes, but literally, like, you have to have 4 players, exactly, or it's completely unbalanced. And it's just math. I love Champions, or I love the Marvel Champions game, but it's like, it feels some theme in there. This game is just like, oh, add a +1, add a +2 here, and just a whole bunch of that, and you only get to play like 1 card each turn. You can play multiple characters, but you have to play exactly 4 players or this game doesn't work properly. And I have no clue why I rate this game a 4, he rates it a 9, which is just crazy. And so I'm not that big of a fan of Sentinels of the Multiverse at all. I know there's fans out there, but I mean, there's much better superhero games these days. This was okay when this was the only superhero game, no longer the case.
This game gets a ton of love. You might actually be in the minority here, man. Yeah.
Whatever.
But it's okay. That's okay. All right, my number 8 is a game I love, and it's a cooperative dexterity game. A rare thing. It's a unicorn, this thing. It's a game called Minara, which I really enjoy, and Tom just seemed unimpressed by. It's one in which you are going to be working together to build up a structure. Usually when you are doing any sort of stacking, in a game, it's all about, I hope you mess up. That's the energy that's kind of going out right across the table. Somebody else is manipulating some wooden rod or pulling out a plank and putting it on top, then I hope you mess up. This is the one game where the energy at the table is, come on, you can do it. Yeah. And I love the game experience that develops from that. This idea of discussing, should I put this here? Is that stable? Because we got to get to like level 6. Do we want to try for that? It's got to push your luck element. It's got a really nice, low-key but interesting cooperation among the players. So I really like it. And Tom rates it a 6, seems largely unimpressed by it. I don't know. I love co-ops. So does he. I'm surprised this one didn't rate higher for him when it's so different, Yeah. So that's my number 8, Minara.
Yeah, this is another one that you talk about all the time, that every single time you're like, dexterity and cooperation, like, you have to bring this over and let me play it, Z, because it looks amazing, just because, I don't know.
It's really cool. It's really cool. I like it a lot.
Even though you betrayed me on this one, Z, I'm going to back you up on this. It's a good game.
You'll have things to say about some of mine later on, I'm sure.
Fair enough.
Number 7.
Back.
All right, so my number 7. So let me lay out a quick few things for you here. Gorgeous Vincent Dutrait artwork. clever hand management, drafting, racing game with all that tension that's tied up. Does that sound like a 5 to you?
No.
It doesn't sound like a 5 to me either. It sounds closer to an 8, which is what I rate it. And this is Lewis and Clark, The Expedition.
Yes.
This, I don't understand. I've played other games with Tom that have very similar mechanics, that have very similar feels, that don't look as good and don't have as much tension as this one does. So what is it about Lewis and Clark that he's going to rate it a 5? This is one that was confounding to me when I was looking through his ratings. I almost thought, okay, maybe he meant the dice game, but no, he meant the Lewis and Clark Expedition, the original card-based game with some worker placement aspects, the really, really tight hand management. It's almost, there's even deck building involved.
I call it OG Everdell.
That's a really good way to look at it. Yeah, it's a really good game. It still, holds up well today. I mean, it's not a terribly old game, but a lot of other games in this style have come out since then. I'm still happy to play Lewis and Clark. It obviously looks gorgeous. I don't get what it is about this game that he doesn't like. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I know. I really like it, too. I rate it probably about the same as you do, Mike. My only issue is I don't think it scales well. Maybe Tom is dinging it more for that, because I'll stick with 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Sure. That's true.
It's long. It's like half an hour per player. So it just you can't fit it down anymore than that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But I think it's a great game. It's so different. Yeah.
Yeah.
The man is... Let's not mince words. He's wrong a lot.
He is wrong. Yes. He is wrong.
So for me,
Roy?
I love party games, and there are tons of fun party games out there. But a party game where you put a card out on the table and you have random cards in your hand that maybe one of them is slightly funny, the jokes get super old, and these games kind of spun off the worst party game in the world. But for me, Tom rates these games, I think, like a 9 or an 8. And this is actually 2 games, just because the mechanics are so similar. I picked 2 games that Tom is wrong about, and that is both Faces and Apples to Apples. Like, I am so sick and tired of these games. There's been a million copycat clones that are edgy and stuff like that, but the basic ones...
That's a good title, Copycat Clones. That's my next
are
terrible. And it's like whoever has the most silly, slightly edgy, slightly funny thing, whether it be a face or a word on a card, you just get lucky and you just play it out and it just works every time. The choice is always obvious. There's no real choice in the game, and sometimes you just get a hand of just crap cards and it just never works for anything, It's like, this card is not going to work for anything you put out there. And I don't like these games. I know people like these party games. It's just mindless drivel, I would rather just sit there and talk to people or stare at the wall than play these games.
Talk to people?
The humans. Talk to the
Certainly
humans.
you mean while looking at my phone.
Correct. Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Okay, then that's fine. I'm not going to sit there and talk to people.
No.
All right, my number 7 is another one I talk about quite a bit, Solenia.
Oh.
And I like Solenia, man. I don't know what the issue is with this one. I guess now if you play a lot of, where are you at, Black Angel...
Yeah.
And you go back to Solenia. Maybe if you play Black Angel first also and you play Solenia after, you're like, this is a watered down version of Black Angel. And it is. I mean, on purpose. That's what it is. But it's a neat game. A really cool central mechanism of an airship traveling through this world in which it becomes daytime and then slowly becomes nighttime again. You are picking up resources and delivering them. It's a small game, but it's so... It's such an interesting design. It's so captivating in its simplicity, and it has a certain sort of tranquility to it that I find really pleasant and engaging. It also has some nice sort of leveling up of complexity. The game's never complex, but you can play like an introductory style game. Then you can play on the opposite side, the flip side of your player boards. Then you can draft some tiles and modify that. So I really like that as well. Tom was unimpressed by it. He just sort of was dismissive of it, and it broke my heart a little bit.
Did you see what he rated it?
He rated it a 6.
Yeah, he's wrong. He's definitely wrong. It's a really good game. It's a good game. I like it a lot.
I like it. I like it quite a bit. I don't know if you've played this, Roy. Roy, I don't want to call him out, but he might be the traitor in this group. So watch out.
Might be. Yeah.
It might be a Cylon.
All right. Let's go to our next number.
Number 6.
Back.
All right, so my number 6 is the first time that I have chosen one where Tom rated it higher than I did. He rates this a 9. A 9. So that he feels like this is close to perfect. I rated a 5, and I think I was being generous at the time. I must have been in a particularly good mood. This is On the Underground. This is a game where your actual turn has almost no thought behind it. What you're doing is very simple. It takes very little actual consideration. And then you spend 5 minutes trying to figure out how and where to move the stupid passenger. We had a table of, I want to say, 6 or 7 people that after every person's turn, so it's not just like I couldn't figure it out. After every person's turn, everyone's like, okay, no, I think it goes this way. No, because there's this station here, so it's going to actually go that way. And it was just so much administration and work for what turned out to be like 15-second turns. Like, okay, I'm doing this because it's really obvious that I'm going to be doing this. And then the rest of the time was trying to figure out where you move that passenger to. Now, I will say, the look of this updated version is gorgeous. I have nothing but good things to say about the way it looks. That's probably why I rated it a 5 when my actual experience was more like a 3. But there is no way that this is a 9 game. There are so many other games that do what this game does without that really stupid and convoluted administration at the end that I don't get a 9 rating out of this. It makes no sense to me.
I just looked it up. I was curious. I know I've played. I played the original one, not the new pretty one, but the OG printing from Rio Grande, I guess it was.
Yeah.
I rated a 5.
There you go. Right, that's what I rated it.
So yeah, I'm right there with you, Mike. A 9 for this is that's wild. That's crazy. Maybe he thought he was playing a Ticket to Ride map.
I have no idea.
I don't want to say Tom Vassell is senile, but
yeah,
are we being too mean? That's my main question.
It's a good question.
Are we being mean enough is the question we should ask ourselves.
Done.
All right.
Up the level. All right, for me, my number 6, I love Civilization games. I love card games that feel like Race for the Galaxy where you're building little engines and things like that. But this game, for one, doesn't look good at all. It's very take that, where you're just screwing each other over. The card powers I don't think are balanced very well, and I just don't like it at all, and that is Innovation. Tom rates Innovation a 9. This game is a 4 at best. I don't like this game at all. I played it a couple times like way back in the day, and it's just no fun, you know. Tom is definitely wrong. Yes. You screw each other over, and it's way too long, and I just don't enjoy the game. So number 6 for me is Innovation.
I take back anything and everything I've ever said mean about you, Roy. And it's been a lot. I'll be honest with you.
Can I write that down? Can I take that to the bank?
That's right. You better bank that up.
That was amazing. You are so correct. All right, my number 6 is an abstract game called Hive. Hive is a modern classic, man. I rated it an 8. I probably rated it even higher at some point. Tom rates it a 5. Ugh. Hive is very engaging. It's the kind of game that I could see sticking around for a very long time and becoming, if it got the sort of the mass appeal that something like chess and checkers have developed over many years, it could be that kind of game. It's free form, so you can play just about anywhere. You don't need a board. You can just pull out the pieces and play on any surface. And it's engaging. It's interesting. It manages to also be one of the more quote-unquote thematic abstract games out there.
I would say that,
the little bugs have interesting powers, and you can sort of see why that bug was given that power, right? So I really enjoy it. I think it's I mean, they have tournaments for this stuff. You can, it's got something beneath the surface that is that makes it. It's not a fluffy game. It is not just a surface level kind of game. And that's weird because Tom likes a few abstract games. Like, he loves the one with the tile flipping one. What's that called? They did a Vikings one also for it. He likes that one.
Yeah, the Duke.
The Duke?
He likes
the Duke. Yeah, the Duke. Yeah. The Duke is just not as interesting, I think, as Hive. It's got the twist is that, you move a piece and you flip it. That's cool, but to not like Hive and love the Duke?
Yeah.
Suspect at best.
Right.
There you go. That's my number 6.
All right, going to 5.
Number 5.
Back.
All right. Well, I honestly could have done a top 10 list of Tom is wrong about Knizia games because he is wrong about so many Rainier Knizia games. It's shocking. But I'm going to go with this game that he rates a 4 that I rate an 8. Okay. All right. This is Blue Moon, a battle card game, a 2-player battle card game with gorgeous art and some really intriguing different factions that you basically, your deck is a particular faction, someone else picks a different faction, and you're playing against each other. It has a similar feel to some of the other Knizia kind of card battling games, but there's a little more to this than something like, I would say, Shot and Totten, certainly more to it than something like Lost Cities. But it is I don't understand why he doesn't like this game, because again, this is something I've kind of found as a pattern. This game to me feels like a lot of other games that he does like, and it's better than those games. But for some reason, he has something against this game. I think he's called it, I think he was saying, it's just basically war. Well, no, it's really not. If you're playing it like war, you're playing it wrong. There's a lot more, like almost every Knizia, not every, but like many Knizia games, if you look at it on a surface level, then yeah, it's going to seem very simple. But the more you play it, the more you find nuance, the more you find nooks and crannies in the design. The rule book is very light, like all of his games, but the decision space is massive, especially as you get to play some of these decks. And I never even got into the deck building aspect of it. There's deck building aspects you can do. Just playing those base decks have a tremendous amount of strategy and thought and one-upsmanship and getting into the mind of the other player. And the fact that this is rated a 4 to me is mind-blowing. It's a terrific game. Unfortunately, I think it's out of print even in the updated version than the Blue Moon Legends, but you could probably find it for cheap. It's a really good game.
Good stuff, Mike. It's good stuff.
All right, for me, we are now into the games for me that Tom doesn't like that I think are awesome. And the first one here is one that I've kind of had a chip on my shoulder for a while, and I want to get this off my chest, so bear with me just for a moment here.
What is this? Wait.
Just because a game is small doesn't mean it's bad. Just because not everybody can afford all of the games, like giant games, and we don't get games sent to us for free. Everybody out there's not a reviewer. Sometimes you want a solid game that fits a lot in a box for like 20 bucks, and it's like an amazing deal. And my number 5 is all of the Tiny Epic games.
Whoa! Strike fire!
So Tom just like discounts all these games just because they're small. Listen, I can't afford every $100 Kickstarter out there, and these games are great value for what you get in the box. And I really enjoy a lot of them. Quest is my favorite. I love Kingdoms. Everybody loves Galaxies. I know he at least likes Galaxies, but he discounts the majority of these games just because they're small. For that's the only reason that he doesn't like them. So Tiny Epic games are a lot of fun. I really enjoyed them. And you can have a whole collection of a variety of different genres just in like these small boxes that don't break the bank. You can get like 5 of them for the cost of like 1 Kickstarter. So Tiny Epic games are my number 5. You're wrong.
Woo. Wow.
I liked it. That was fire. Hot fire.
Roy's coming correct.
He's bringing it. All right,
I got to put the GIF up just because it has to happen.
I'll pretend to be livid for my number 5.
All right.
You know what, Tom? You're wrong about this. No, I'm not. All right, my number 5 is actually my one expansion pick. I picked an expansion. Everybody, well, actually, that's not true. Some people have specifically told me, hey, Z, you're right. And I always tell them, don't tell me, go tell Tom Vassell. But they refuse to. He's too tall. He's kind of like abnormally tall. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So people don't really go up to him. But anyway, the expansion is Jamaica, the Crew.
Oh.
Why is this not getting more love? Jamaica, the Crew, yes, it came out a long time after Jamaica, given. You know, it was probably too long. But it's such a fantastic expansion. It adds, there's nothing I think it adds that I would say detracts from the original game. In fact, I think this game is easier to teach with the expansion than without.
Oh,
and I can't say that about literally any expansion. Because you don't have to show everything. Most of the characters begin face down on this interesting grid. There are 3 face up. And then the deck of cards that in the original game had a bunch of special abilities, meaning I had to explain them all, because once you're holding it, you can't ask me.
Right.
I don't have to anymore. I now, you know, once we reveal new characters, I tell you what they are. They're open. They're on the table.
Right.
So it's actually easier to play. Way more personality with these interesting crew you can hire. You know, oh, look at this guy's artwork. And he, you know, when he gets close to treasure instead of on the treasure, he can steal it. Oh, that's great. Okay. So he's got an ability, you know, and then you can plunder people's ships and steal their crew and put them to work in your own ship. It's fantastic. Tom rates it a 5.
Wow.
I think it is one of the best expansions to a really, really engaging game out there. So, what can you do? That's my number 5, Jamaica, the Crew.
I need to try this expansion. I haven't played it yet.
So fun.
All right.
Number 4.
Back.
All right. So my number 4, you know, Z, earlier you mentioned that one of your picks was one that not everyone might love. This is going to be the one that I think I may get a little bit of blowback in the chat and in the comments.
Wrong,
because
Mike.
It's not well loved.
Where's my Mike is wrong GIF? No, I'm just kidding.
It is well loved by me. I rate it a 9. Tom rates it a 5. And this is Masmora, Dungeons of Arcadia. And it's interesting to me because he really likes Arcadia Quest. And while this is in the same world, it is a different game. And I think part of the reason is that I like this game so much in its cooperative version. I would not rate it a 9 for the competitive game. I would probably rate it closer to a 7, 7.5. But I still don't see this as a 5. And again, it's so similar to other games that he likes that aren't as good. I know that he complained that the dice are monsters. I think that's a weird argument.
There's ridiculous.
Lots of games that it is. There's lots of games that use dice either as workers or as monsters and to me, it's a remarkably clever way to randomize a monster pool in a slightly unique way. I think it's great. And then you can use those as your monsters, and you still have your really cool command minis for your heroes. Tremendous amount of variety, especially if this was a Kickstarter. There's all kinds of extras and stuff. But I don't understand why this particular dungeon crawl he doesn't like when there's so many others that aren't as good that he rates highly. I really do like Masmora quite a bit. I think it's a game that's underappreciated, and I don't particularly know why. So Tom is wrong on this one. I know not everyone's going to agree, but I am standing firm. Tom is
I actually
wrong.
do agree. I enjoy this game, and I think the main reason he rated it lowly was because of those dice. Like, he's like, oh, I don't like the dice monsters. I want real miniatures for the monsters. But the dice are literally the best part of the game. I really enjoy the dice.
It's funny because, as somebody's saying in the comments, he loves Dice Masters.
Right.
Dice Masters is monsters or characters on dice. So
And the art on this is way better than Dice Masters.
Yeah, it is. Don't get it.
All right. For me, my number 4 is one of my favorite games. I really enjoy this game. And this is another one that kind of falls with Masmora. Like, it has a lot of the tropes that Tom loves, and I have no clue why he doesn't like it. This is an old school game that predates Magic the Gathering, and that is Wiz War. Wiz War is a game where you're trying to collect treasures, running around a maze, playing different spells. It's a lot of like messing up your opponents, but you have all these cool combos with all the spell cards. It's really fun to just have a fun, silly, chaotic game where you're playing spells and putting up walls and converting yourself into different monsters. It seems exactly like the thing Tom Bass would like, but he doesn't rate it nearly as high as I do, and it's just crazy to me. But yeah, he rates it a 6. I rate this game a 9. I really enjoy it. He doesn't even think it's approved, which is just crazy to me.
Oh.
So, Wiz War is a great game, and I just have fun with the combos in it.
I have not played Wiz War. It is apparently on its 8th edition.
Oh, for sure.
That was what I was going to ask. I mean, it's a game that's been around forever, and it's still in print.
Yes.
This came out in 1862.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Literally, Richard Garfield credited this game and Cosmic Encounter with the design of Magic the Gathering. He's like, I played those games, then I came up with Magic the Gathering. And you can kind of tell when you play Wiz War or you play Cosmic with all the different combos in the cards, that's where Magic the Gathering spawned off from. So it's just really cool, this game, and it's just crazy that this doesn't fit into Tom's wheelhouse for some reason. Like, it's just insane to me.
I didn't know there were games before Magic the Gathering. That's crazy. All right. My number 4 is a Stefan Feld classic. In my opinion, one of the best Stefan Feld games out there. This is Notre Dame. And I rate this an 8. It's a very solid game. It's extremely engaging, cool drafting in it. Tight. You know, you're sort of always desperate for more resources, but that's the point. It's a tight game. Right. And apparently Tom in his comments said it was too tight. He couldn't do anything, and he rates it a 4.
Wow.
That is wild to me. A 4. This game is very good. Now the components, nothing to write home about. Given, okay? This is an Alea game. Well, you get what you get. But the gameplay, the design, I still say it's one of his best games. You know, everybody is gaga about Castles of Burgundy. I actually like Notre Dame more than I like Castles of Burgundy. I think it's up there. So I don't know what it is. I think he likes his Rosenberg mostly, even though he didn't like Loyang. But and so Feld does not get a lot of love sometimes. But I think this one deserves the love. Notre Dame, my number 4. Yeah.
Could it be that it's because Stefan Feld is perhaps the only person in gaming that's taller than Tom? Could that be an issue for him?
I could see that being the problem, and I hadn't thought of it, but now that you say it, I think that might be it.
Yeah, I think it could be something to do with it.
They're both giants in the world of gaming, and
they are, literally.
You know, that's what it is.
All right.
Number 3.
All right, Mike.
Yes.
What do you got?
All right, this is, I believe, our first crossover. We haven't had a crossover yet, have we?
Oh, no.
Beep, 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 beep. This is a crossover with Mr. Roy Canaday, and this is a game that, as you said, Roy, Tom rates a 9. I rate a 5. Sentinels of the Multiverse. Oh, come on with this game. I know it's popular. I saw the chat blowing up. We'll get ready to blow up again because he is wrong. This is, quadratic equation, the superhero game. How many little chits and pieces? And I want to be Fraction Man. I want to be, I don't. It does not feel like, to me, it doesn't feel like superheroes because I lose my immersion with all of the upkeep. And someone said, well, the app helps with that. Okay, I'm not playing the app. I'm playing the board game. If I have to have an app to help me administer the board game, it's probably not a board game for me. For that type, I mean, I know there are some games that have app integration. I'm not talking about that. This is just a game that gets in its own way, in my opinion. And sure, maybe they came up with some great original superheroes, but I don't ever feel like I'm playing a superhero. I feel like I'm playing a spreadsheet. I feel like I'm playing a math problem. And I think
they meant calculator app is what they meant when they said the app.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I do not get Tom's love for this game. A 9 to me, no way. And I know that a lot of people like it. I get it, but I do not. I do not like it, and I certainly don't see it as a 9. So, Roy, I'm with you on this one. Tom is dead wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah. I just looked it up. I was curious. I haven't played in ages,
Mm-hmm.
I rated it a 6, and it would probably be lower if I replayed it now, to be honest. Because it's just that level of upkeep and the fiddliness, man. I can't deal with that. I want it's got to be bringing something that isn't just math and fiddliness.
Right. Yeah.
So I hear that. All right, Roy, what do you got?
So I really enjoy the genre of 4X. And Tom seems to like that kind of game too, but he always claims like, I like these Euro games and these big Euro games. But this 4X game, he complained that it was too Euro-y. Like, oh my goodness, you have to do upkeep and manage your money and your economic stuff. This is a Eclipse. For some reason, he rates Eclipse a 6.5, which I know is approved or whatever, but this game is way better than that.
No,
it's just as
approved.
good. It's not approved? So he doesn't even think Eclipse is a good enough game to own at this point, basically.
Poop is what he's poop.
But Eclipse is an amazing game about exploring the galaxy and doing all these other things that you would think Tom would like. But he decided, it's got too much upkeep and economics, like managing my resources. I don't like it. So, which just seems insane to me.
He's supposed to be a math teacher, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
In theory.
I don't think so.
No.
I still to this day say he bought that degree somewhere online.
Eclipse is an amazing game.
I hope he doesn't watch this. Is he watching this?
No, he doesn't care.
There's no way he's going to see this.
All right, good. My number 3 game. And from here on out, I got to tell you, the next 3 for me are games I rate 10s.
Woo!
Okay, this is pinnacle.
Wow.
My number 3 is Mr. Jack. One of the best, most interesting, and when it came out, I think most innovative 2-player games out there. Tom rates this a 5.5 out of 10. And I think Mr. Jack is just so full of interesting choices, tension, puzzly moments. You have to be, it's this interesting sort of knife fight in which you're, in your mind too. It's not like an actual fight, but it's like, if I move here, they can do that, and then I'll be seen, so I can't escape as Jack the Ripper. So I have to make sure they don't figure out which one of these characters I'm pretending to be as Jack the Ripper. There's been a bunch of spin-offs to it. He also hates the pocket one, but I don't like that one nearly as much. But the original Mr. Jack, it's a fantastic game. Completely immersive for what's ultimately kind of an abstracted game.
Right.
But he just doesn't care for it, and I don't know what it is. He usually likes these kinds of 2-player games. He likes Onitama. Onitama's kind of like this. But Mr. Jack just doesn't get the love. So, I don't know. I know that Piero, who did the illustrations for it, was mentioning to me that he wanted to, 1 year at Essen, maybe corner Tom somewhere and beat him up. But I dissuaded that. And he's never thanked me for it, Tom. So maybe I'll have to talk to him about that, because Piero can probably take him. Piero's a dangerous dude.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. But that's my number 3, Mr. Jack.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Number 2.
All right, my number 2. Auction games. I like a lot of auction games, but when you hear auction game, there's probably one designer that jumps to your mind. Rainer Knizia, right?
Again, yeah.
The king of auction games, so much so that there's a whole term, the auction trilogy, that Knizia came up with. Here's what Tom thinks of the auction trilogy by Rainer Knizia. He rates modern art a 6. He rates Raw a 6.5. Raw a 6.5. Now, that could have been my pick, but he was so egregiously wrong on this pick that I had to go with it. I rated an 8. He rates it a 4, and that's Medici. Wow. What game are you playing? This is a fantastic, fantastic auction game. I do not understand on what planet Medici is a 4. Unless you just don't like auction games, and I don't think that's the case, because there are some auction games that Tom rates highly, so it can't just be that. This to me is astounding. This is one of the most highly thought of games, certainly in Euro games out there. It still holds up. It's still just as good today as it was the day it was released. It has that tension that you're looking for in auction games. It's a super clean rule set as you're looking for. It's another game that doesn't get in its own way. It's all about reading the other players, trying to make the best evaluation of these goods. I cannot understand how on earth you rate Medici a 4. Very, very wrong. A fantastic game. He's wrong on all 3 of the Knizia auction games. I mean, like I said, if he wasn't so wrong about this, I would have gone with Raw because I rate that a 9, and he rates it a 6.5. So I should have pulled a Roy when he said all the
Triple
Tiny
it up.
Epic games. I should have said all the Knizia auction games because you're wrong about all of them. But I chose Medici as the most egregious of your incorrect choice, Tom.
It's outrageous.
It is outrageous.
I don't like Medici that much, but Raw is amazing. That's I think a great game, and I'm surprised he doesn't rate that one very highly either. Plus Medici, the card game. I don't know if you played that, Mike. Fantastic.
It's great. It's great.
It is so good. Medici, the card game, I like better than Medici.
Really? Okay.
It's got this cool push your luck thing built into like flipping the cards. It's really cool. So
it is good.
You know, it's no new discovery that Tom is wrong. Rule.
Okay, so this one is on the list, mostly because just recently, Tom, not really recently, it was a little while back, but
what did he do
to you? Tom lowered the rating of a game, and I'm sitting there having to edit this thing where he lowered the rating of this game. This is the game that really like made me love board games and the board game hobby. And I looked over, this was when Sam was still here, and I was like, what's wrong with this man? What's going on? This is Battlestar Galactica. He lowered his rating down to a 6.5 because he said, oh, there's games that do the hidden traitor thing better. Name one. Which one? Tell me. I understand that the game is long and sprawling, but it's so thematic. It feels like you're playing through that series. And yeah, you guys said I was the Cylon earlier. Maybe that's true because Battlestar Galactica is an amazing game, and I've loved all of my plays of it. And I understand Tom doesn't have time to play long games anymore, but come on. Battlestar Galactica is a great game that feels so true to its theme. And that's why Tom is wrong.
I can see Roy like finding out he dropped the rating and putting rotten milk in his coffee or something for Tom.
I think Roy's got a notification, so every time Tom changes his rating, he gets a bing on his phone. Wait!
Like, oh no. He did what?
Well, I mean, I literally have to edit this like video that takes me like 3 hours to edit. And when I get things like this, I'm like, not only am I editing a video, it's also a video that's wrong. So it's like, I just hate how it makes the Dice Tower look in general, you know? The integrity of the channel is being ruined by these false ratings. It's just messed up.
The integrity.
All right. My number 2. Somebody called it in the comments already. My number 2 is Arkham Horror, the card game. I rate it a 10. Mr. Tom Vassell rates it a 6. My man, homie, what game did you play? I think I know what it is, actually. I think Arkham LCG grew on me to become a 10. Like, I didn't play it, and I was like, oh, my goodness, it's a 10. And Tom, I think, played it once or twice, and it didn't quite, he didn't let it work on him, which I get. But it doesn't mean he's not wrong. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to mention it on this list. Tom, little known to people out there, is actually a huge fan of Phase 10. And he collects themed decks of the game. He's got like a Simpsons Phase 10. And he's got a Powerpuff Girls Phase 10. Right. He got that one from Eric. He's got a bunch of them. I've seen them at his house. And yet cannot appreciate the beauty and the thematic, depth, unfathomable depth of Arkham Horror, the card game.
I see what you did there. 2. That's good. Yeah,
you like it?
Good.
You like it? I went for a little spookiness. Yeah.
That was good. It was good stuff.
Thank you.
And finally, number 1.
Whew, well, I got to tell you, gentlemen, this has been an exhausting list. I mean, the amount of wrong that we've been discussing, it takes a little bit out of you. I'm not going to lie, but I've got a little bit left in the tank, and so I'm going to be coming with my number one. This is a game. Now, I didn't come with any of my 10s, but this is a game I rate a 9. It is one of my favorite games, and this is a game that Tom rates a 5. And if there's one pattern that I'm sensing in my list is that these are games that are like other games he likes, but for some reason doesn't like this one. It's the City of Kings. What is it you don't like about this game, Tom? It's so similar to other games that you like.
Didn't he have some issue with the monsters, right?
Yeah, and he's wrong. He's wrong about the issue with the monsters.
Hit him with it, Roy.
Yeah, let's get that GIF. It's like, if that's your one issue, is that enough of a reason to knock a game down to a 5? No, it's not. And I don't even think it's a problem. I think it's a very clever way of randomizing monsters, but still giving them some special abilities so that they don't all play out the same way. I know that he has some issue with the standees. Okay, but there's other games he plays that has standees, so it can't be that. There's just something about this game, and I don't get it, because it's, to me, this fantastic hybrid-style game where you've got Euro mechanisms with some thematic elements. You can play it as one-off scenarios. You can play them as long campaigns if you want to. It's got really, really clever, puzzly elements to the game where really you could play games that almost feel like pick 'em and deliver in one scenario, or a different scenario where it's a straight combat type scenario, and other ones where you're doing resource management. And it's just a really elegant game that I think I enjoy it every single time I play it. It hasn't lost any of its luster for me. If anything, it's gotten better the more I've played it. I just don't know what it is that he doesn't like about it, because it's got some elements of other games he really loves. It's nowhere near a 5. It's a 9. Tom, you couldn't be more wrong than you are in the City of Kings.
He could rate it a 4. Let's just say.
I guess that's true.
Semantics. That's semantics. Yes. I do like somebody in the comments said, Z doesn't even like the game. He just wants Mike to go off on Tom. Hey, folks, you know what? You're right. At the end of the day, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun the other runners. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming out of this baby unscathed, baby.
That's a good point.
I'll be okay. All right, Roy, what do you got?
All right, my number one is actually a crossover with Mr. Z Garcia.
That's what I'm talking about.
This game is, I would say, the best campaign game of all time, and that is Arkham Horror LCG. This game should not be a 6. This game is definitely a 10. It's amazing. It's the best. I would say it's probably the best as far as mechanically goes, the best LCG Fantasy Flight's ever made. The theme in this game is ridiculous through the roof. I mean, it feels like you're playing through the story where the choices you make matter. And Tom would love all that stuff. He just hasn't played it and has no clue like what's going on in this game. Like, it should not be a 6. It's an amazing game. The theme is amazing. The mechanics are amazing. The way everything goes together. It's definitely got that Lovecraft feel and that whole Cthulhu mythos craziness going on with it. And it gives you the creeps a little bit, but it's a lot of fun playing. And this game's great. So definitely Tom is wrong.
Yeah, this could have been on my list as well. This is a good game. He's definitely wrong.
You cannot rate Duel of Ages higher than this.
That's crazy.
All right, my number one is a crossover as well, actually, with Mr. Delicio, and this is, like you said, Blue Moon. Blue Moon. I rated a 10. I have for a very long time. I think everything you said is on point. There is much more here than war. Just because there's numbers and they go up, I mean, that's like every fighting game.
Right.
And Tom rates it a 4. You know, out of 10, I rated a perfect 10. I think it's fantastic. I did get into some of the deck building, Mike, and it's great.
Okay.
So you can get some of the now it all comes included in the big, you know, Blue Moon Legends box. But you know, you would get the extra cards. You could deck build with them. You could even bring in cards from other factions. They had these characters that you could take your deck from a 30-card deck to a 40-card deck with special abilities and stuff. This is everything I liked in CCGs back when this came out, right? Without the cost, without the timing issues. There was none of this like, oh, I need to study to play this game. You know? I could just play. and you can definitely. I mean, you got to put some time into it. You got to get good if you want to be competitive. But there's, I don't know. There's no way this game is bad by any definition. I think.
No.
You might not like it, but a 4?
Right.
No. No way.
Way wrong. Way wrong.
Oh, I felt good. I mean, I'm a little concerned. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
He is coming back. You guys know that, right? I mean,
that's true.
He's coming back.
He's coming back in like 3 days. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we let this play out for the next 3 days or so? Then
Yeah,
we'll
let's see
pull
what
it
happens.
down. Before he comes back, we'll just pull the video. If he
Yeah,
asks,
he'll never know.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I can neither confirm nor deny that we did a list picking on you.
Oh, for sure.
Solid plan.
So, there we go. All right, everybody. Well, I want to actually, why don't we ask the people in the audience here what they think are some of Tom's most more egregious choices for games that he says are very good or games he says are very bad. And we might agree, we might not. Let's see what you've all got.
This is your chance. This is your moment.
I'll be honest. For the most part, my tastes and Tom's do seem to align.
Correct.
But there's a few doozies. I think the best one that Roy said, for example, is innovation, man.
Yeah.
You are so right about that.
Yeah.
Played that game one time. And I was like, what is this? Are you kidding me? And he loves it. He loves it.
Right. Does he like Glory to Rome as well?
Glory to Rome, I think he likes.
I think he likes that as well, yeah.
He hates Vasco da Gama. That's true. This is true. Galaxy Trucker, he loves. I hate that game.
Yeah, Galaxy Trucker. I've gone down on that.
Brass Birmingham, he rates a 5.
Dawn of the Peacemakers, he's definitely wrong about that. That's a fantastic game. Star Trek Ascendancy almost made my list, but I took it off. For some reason, he only thinks one type of genre of a game can exist. You know, he's like, only the best one can have a high rating. I'm going to lower all the ratings on all the rest. It just doesn't make sense.
Somebody said Quelf. No, that's not that very good.
That game's bad.
That deserves to be rated badly. Spirit Island. I don't know what he rates Spirit Island. I don't like it very much.
I didn't know that he had played Spirit Island. Maybe, he must have.
We don't know that. He rated it. Okay?
Yeah, I'd have to check. I like Spirit Island a lot.
Ryu is a 10. He rated it a 4. No, Ryu is like a 4. Okay. That one wasn't very good. Galaxy Trucker is terrible. I agree with that.
I enjoy it.
Oh, I think he did rate Tricarion low, and I also don't agree with that. That's a really good game. A heavy Euro.
Oh my goodness. So much going on. All right, everybody.
We've opened the floodgates.
I know. People are just letting it out.
This is like a therapy session in between us and you guys.
Right.
Like, this is your chance. Just let it out.
Thank you all for sharing. How about that?
This is a support group. This will never get out. No one will know.
Cleansing breath.
It's fine. You're in a safe space.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Of course, the list is largely tongue-in-cheek. We hope you realize that.
Yes.
And we hope Tom realizes it when he comes back and starts making decisions once again. Thanks to Roy and Mike. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. We are going to get out of here. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Roy Kennedy.
I'm Mike Delisio. Take care.
Have fun gaming. Bye.
Bye-bye.
What? No, we're just doing a video here. Don't worry. I mean, you're on vacation. You shouldn't check the YouTube channel or anything like that. Don't worry about it. We've got it. Everything's under control. Don't worry about anything, man. Everything's cool. Everything's fine.
Just